Hello. Okay. Let's check if everything's working. Okay. All right. So today I'm going to play through our game, Bound, and probably I will talk a lot through my play. So I will make stops, answer your questions. Okay, so I will just start like that. So basically, we were telling a lot about our game during the last half year, and we were showing only the Unreal World. And actually, when you buy the game and see the first image, it looks like this, so completely not related to the abstract graphics and so on. So let's start. Okay, so I can hear first I can see first question. So, what are the challenges of this unique art style and technical issues? There's a lot. So, there's a lot of iterations, checking if it looks nice, if it behaves nice, if it runs at 60 frames per second, if it's like fits in the memory. But basically, you need to have this kind of understanding of visual effects and just iterate and see if it's okay, if it's exactly what you wanted, but also you need to know where to stop, so you can like do it all the time, all over again, and until you just need to stop. Okay, so first thing is the beach. So beach is our real, we call it real world, and this is Princess. So I will be talking through this live stream like with complete spoilers. So I assume that a lot of you have already played the game, or maybe if not, then sorry. It's just like we wanted to concentrate a little bit on the technical side and answering your questions. What would you classify the game? Puzzler action. It's a very hard question. So I think that a lot of people classify it as a platformer, but for me it's like an emotional game, which is narrative driven, and platformer is just like it's like a chassis to go through the story. So we could actually probably like do a walking simulator, but I was afraid that it will be compared too much to Journey. So I've decided to make this twist with the platforming mechanics. So as for Vita version, it's it's probably won't be possible because we are using a lot of computational power of PS4, and it would be very hard to do it. But it doesn't seem like it looks very like a super next generation game here. But take a look. If I rotate the camera, it's super smooth, and it's because we are also making this game for PlayStation VR, and it needs to be super smooth all the time. So we had to do a lot of sacrifices, and still we are using a lot of computational power. So no Vita. It's probably it's like impossible. So it would be very cut down to like a very short view distance and so on. Okay, so we run through the first part of the real world, and this is how we go to the Unreal world. Oh, hello, Miss Baltica. You're our biggest fan, I guess. Like PC release is impossible because it's Santa Monica Studio, and Santa Monica Studio is like the first party of Sony, so it's just exclusives. The team is the team at the like first 2 years of development, like a pre-production, was just 4, and all programmers, and by the end of the project it was 9. So we've added a lot of people. We were working a lot with outsourcing people, like for example like modelers and animators, but in the end it was like a very bad idea. We've put like the whole team inside our studio, and that was the good choice. Okay, so I will tell a little bit of the distraction effect that we have here. So we call it a distraction, and this is something that took a lot of our time. And the first idea behind it was that the Unreal world was being like it's supposed to be like destroyed in time. So at first you can see that all the shapes and the buildings have complete geometry, and they will dissolve in time. So when you play the game, like with time, the viewing distance is shorter and shorter, and we had to develop this blocky look, which is like very dynamic. So everything here is just blocks. There are no like 3D models. The only 3D model you can see here is the princess, and everything else is generated, but it's not like completely procedural, but it's artist driven. So we put those blocks by our own, and the look of it is the other thing. So the look is procedural. Like for example, these two shapes here, they are made based on some kind of simple meshes. It's probably the monster. I think it was the monster that's here, and then we put those blocks procedurally. But all the other meshes that define the game are put by hand by level designers. And this part here, like the disintegration, the camera effect, is something that we are really happy about. And this was designed because of PSVR actually. So we didn't have that for a long time, and then we said it's impossible to look at the character in PSVR. And I said it's like, maybe we should try to cut down the walls. But the funny thing in VR is that everything that is abstract looks really interesting, because realistic graphics are hard to achieve in VR, and when they are not super realistic, then you see that they're fake, like made from the cardboard, like painted cardboard. And when you do abstract graphics, it's something that you accept from the very beginning because it's very artificial, and it's because of Uncanny Valley. If you haven't heard that, like, Google it. So Uncanny Valley works for the faces. It's like when a robot looks like a human, it's when it almost looks like a human, it's very scary. And with the graphics in VR, it's exactly the same. So it needs to be super realistic so you could believe that it's real. If it's not, if it's almost there, like 99%, then you immediately will see that that's just a fake, like a painting on the wall. But if you have this very abstract graphics, then you accept it from the very beginning because it's unreal, and it looks very like, let's say, interesting is the best word. Okay, I was like talking a lot already, and we've passed just like a minute of the game. Could you tell us why can only run on the floor or the walls? So yes, you can run on the walls, but in a specific places that we said. It's the places that are designed for speedrunners to find. and you can do it, but you need some time, like some effort to find them, and there's like a lot of those paths and passages. We are closely looking at speedrunners, and I think that they're pretty good. I think that they got 60% of the paths discovered already, but there are some. I will show you some paths here, because normally you don't do this level like I did. You just jump from the first scene. But I will do it a long way to see a couple of shortcuts that nobody uses anymore. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Let me stand here for a little bit to answer your questions. Does each of those many cubes have their own rotate, scale, and transform matrices? Yes, they have, but they are not instances like in Unity or Unreal. We are not putting them by hand. They are like placed procedurally, but each of them has those small matrix, and based on this matrix, there are like the cubes are formed. So these matrices are very, very small. So we could put them all in the memory. It's basically not there's rotation like a quaternion and position, and that's it, and the scale is also like baked in the matrix, so it's super small. Okay, why did you decide not to give her a face? So the answer is very, very simple, and really like a little bit shame, because we didn't want to make the facial animation in the end, in the like from the beginning, but then we still had this real world which has the face, and we had to do like a very small like facial expressions. We are not good at it, so that's the first thing. But then, in the other hand, it was like suitable for the story, because like all the characters presented in the game, they represent family, and they can also represent that the family is not speaking like directly to each other. They're like hidden behind the masks. Okay. How long is one playthrough of Bound? So currently the shortest one is about like 36 minutes, but normally we found out that it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes average. So like the first playthrough should be like that. How long did it take to capture the movements of the dancer? So it was 2 sessions, like the whole day sessions, but they were preparing for each session for a week. So we were meeting at like 1 week before the session, like discussing the moves. Then we were like checking on each other for during the week, like seeing how they solved some of the problems. And then finally making had a lot more problems with capturing the cutscenes, which are very simple in our game, but still they were the most tricky for us, because we had to do some additional acting, but in a style of ballerina. But the dancing sequences, like those things when you, for example, when you touch the wall, these were very, very simple to capture, and actually we were doing a lot of like, let's say, interpretive capturing. So basically we were like figuring things on the fly and capturing that was like a misjump. Okay. So our tutorial is created in a way that you could learn all the basic moves in the tutorial, and after the tutorial you go through the levels in an arbitrary order. So this is something that we are very happy about, but also it's like the biggest problem of the game, because like a lot of people have problem with the difficulty curve. The difficulty curve is in the tutorial, so you have just like 15 minutes to go through it. And then you are like put in the deep water when any kind of platforming is presented in any order. So those levels need to be very, very balanced, like mostly the same difficulty level, and that's a problem because people don't see the progression after the tutorial, and that's our problem. But the thing is that why we decided to do it in arbitrary order is to tell the story from a different perspective each time you play it, and that's something that we are really happy about. And the other thing is that you can play the game in 120 ways and it will look different. So you can make photos with different sets in a different places. Okay, that's a nice place to make a photo. And let me quickly show you how to do it. So the photo mode is something that it's that bursted, like escalated quickly, and we didn't, we haven't been prepared for that. So we've made the photo mode because we wanted to make some screenshots for the game, like for promotion. And it seems like people are loving the photo mode because the thing is that you can go everywhere because of our distraction effect, and you can see the princess from any point, and you can make a lot of like a very abstract views that look like a modern art. So you can become a modern artist in a couple of clicks, and still you have like a lot of super quality effects like depth of field, or some color filters, black and white. The funny thing is, like, maybe you're asking like where how the color filter names, what are they? So we had to decide pretty fast how to do it because we have a lot of filter names, and most of them are based on the random names generator for colors and for drinks. So we've mixed those two together, and we got those irresistible cyan, for example. So we were mixing those two, but in the end it was the effect is really nice. Okay, so we have the screenshot. Maybe it's not a not a good one. We can the good thing about the photo mode is that you can get out, like make for example some dancing, and go back to the photo mode, and all the settings will be preserved, so you can shoot all those things all the time. Okay, let's move a little bit forward. When will the soundtrack come out? It's very the soundtrack is mastered already, but we want to like announce it in a nicer way than just like putting it on our Twitter or on the web page. So we are preparing like a small movie. It will be a surprise. I think that like all the players will be happy about what we are that they played the game and they were publishing the photos. Will be happy about that, and it will take just a little bit time. And also we are finishing the vinyl release, so we still have some time to like put it online, but it's already done and it will be announced pretty soon. Okay, so this is a place where the shortcut is. I won't go on the shortcut right now, but I will like tell you that if you will roll from this point, then you will find a secret ribbon here. So this is something that you can experience. But if I would take this ribbon, then I would cut down the story. So I've just hinted you that there is a secret passage over there. Okay, so this is the first time that we've met. We are meeting the monster. Okay, so does Plastic have any t-shirts or anything like that? So we have like some old t-shirts with our old logo, but this is not something that you probably want. But I've seen like people already are making their own t-shirts with the photos that they've made by themselves, and they're really good. We will do some modifications to the photo mode with time, like with add-ons. Okay, so I will tell a little bit about what's happening here in this scene. So this is the memory scene, and the memory is made from all these shards that's lying on the pieces, and we like put it all together so players discover the story this way. And we are quite happy how it's done, because like technically it's all done on GPU, including the sound. So we calculate on the GPU where those white clicks are being like popped, and then we feed it to the sound system. And also like the whole like gameplay mechanics is done on the GPU, which is very, very simple. So basically when you discover all like the important pieces, then the door opens, but it's also done in GPU. It's probably we done it because it was like something that we tried to learn, and just happy. Okay, and also like as for the like designing this scene, like the art style, all those shards, it was very, very hard process. It took us like 11 iterations, something like that. We started from the just black and white without any textures, and we had this very big problem with the kids because they looked the same and people didn't recognize if it's a boy or girl, and they were like mismatching them a lot. So we decided to add colors and then like bake the lighting over that, and it started to work. These scenes are really look really nicely in VR. And with that scenes we have an interesting camera in VR, so it's like first person perspective in VR, but it's completely without any nausea and any motion sickness. And we will like showcase that in a little bit. Like we'll post some movies on Twitter and some explanations. Okay. Oh, so many questions. Are there any art book plans? I don't think so, but we could do an art book just from player photos, because player photos are better than what we did for the promotion already, and there's a lot of. We were trying to calculate those today, and we have like those that we selected. So we are not selecting photos of players that are just done with the share button. So we are just choosing those that have some kind of creativity involved, and we've calculated like 600, something like that. So some of you are making a lot of photos, and they're really, really good. So thank you for that. Okay, playing the game, I saw a lot of art history references, like Mondrian, Escher, Bauhaus. Were those your actual influences, or are completely wrong? Yes, they were, and we were putting those modern art references with time. So at first we had just those floating blocks, and our friend art director said that it looks like an suprematism pictures, and suprematism is the modern art movement that it's just relates to the form without any context. So there is no content in there. It's just like a form. If the picture has some kind of meaning, then it's bad. And the funny thing about suprematism is that you should look at it as a whole. So it shouldn't have any places that are like catching your eye. For example, like a center of interest points on the picture, and that's something that he said it looks like this when you see this broken geometry. And then we're like researching that, and we said it's like it looks actually like a modern art, so we should put more and more references to the levels. And right now the levels are designed in this way that each of the levels references the other artist. So for example, the Steam level references Mondrian, and the Trees level references Herbin. So yeah, and I can like leave it to you. It's like if you will find references in other levels to the other artists. Okay. Okay, so this is the place that we are. I will like hint speedrunners that this elevator is something that we are like looking with the team at asking if they will discover it and when they will discover it, but because there's one thing that it's still it's just like some tiny seconds that can be added, but nobody discovered it yet, and that's funny because at the beginning we wanted to highlight it a little bit more, but we didn't have time for that, so we left it like completely hidden, and right now we are happy about it that it's hidden so well. Okay. Can you give me maybe some advice to some day work creating games, especially the levels and character creation and 3D modeling? Wow, that's a hard question, and actually, for like if you will try our way to do stuff, it's really not the best one, because we are doing like a stuff procedurally with code, and you probably want to learn some like graphics tools like Maya or 3D Max, and this is the best start. Probably like Unity or Unreal is also a better start, but we have our own engine and we are very happy about it. So we have our engine, so we could really do everything super optimized, and we could change everything we want, and that's why our game looks so different than the others. Will there be any costume discs? What was the costume disc? What games did you use as inspiration for Bound? So Journey is like the biggest inspiration that we started from. It's like obvious, and people see it. And the other things is those narrative games like Gone Home, Firewatch recently released. Those games that try to push the boundaries of narrative storytelling. And these are wait a second. Okay, so these are the basic references, but also as for the platforming, we were referencing Mario. So Mario is the best platformer that probably has everything there, and it's like impossible to get near the like the mechanics of Mario, but also Mario is like has a lot of problems solved because it's like a tiny small sphere, and it doesn't have problems, for example, like with clipping, like with, for example, when we roll, our head goes into the wall for a little bit, like the hands can cut down. So our character is very tall, and we knew about it, but we decided that we'll go that direction. Okay. So as I was talking about Mario, so basically a lot of people have problems with our platforming, and we were discussing it a lot in the studio, and probably it's because our game is super short. It's like 2 hours, and when you want to play Mario, it will take you 30 hours or something like that, and that's the biggest problem. So our like speedrunning community have already played it, I don't know, for 50 hours or something, and they're playing much better than we are. But they understand like how it works. So basically the jumps are not, it's not like a single uniform jump. You have different like length of the jumps based on the time you are pushing the button. So there's a small jump, but there's also a longer jump. So you need to see this difference and learn this difference. Also, the thing is that you can run, and jumping and running is completely different than just like walking and jumping. So there are different length of jumps. Then the other thing is like people have problems with like finding the distance, and what we see here on the bottom is this like tiny pieces of shards that like are the shadow in the Mario, because in Mario you have like the straight shadow like on the bottom of the character, and we didn't use that because it was looking not so nice in our game. But in the end, it should be there, just like so you could know where to land. Okay. And here is the biggest mechanic of our game, like the roll jump. We show it as a shadow, so we didn't explain it directly to the players so they could discover it, and those who discovered it are really happy about the discovery. But it seems like a lot of people were not having that discovery, and they were struggling without this move with the levels. Okay, so when I play our games, it's like it looks like we are like getting catched by those fears, and we've taken a lot of time to make it look really nice. So basically, when I play the game, I sometimes from time to time I get catched just to see these animations. But a lot of people are just like using the dance to do that, which is like the simplest way, but it's not like the most like efficient way. When you dance for a little bit, you have this protecting sphere, but there's different ways to make the sphere, and like one of those combinations is the fastest, and you can go faster. But the other thing is that you can use the dodge button. And the dodge button looks like this, that when you get attacked and you frame the dodge in time, then you have this quick dodge, and you can also have the quick dodge in the air. So those secret moves are there, but they are not explained to anyone, like so people will discover it by themselves. So probably that was like a little bit not a good idea, but we wanted to have this super small tutorial, so people would not so people would get immersed in the game. Okay, so that's a good moment to answer some questions. Will be there any costume DLCs? I've read discs DLCs. We haven't thought about that, but I must say that we've made like this internal joke in the studio one time, and we've put the Kratos figure in the moves of the ballerina, and it was like a pretty let's say awkward experience, so we decided not to put it as an Easter egg inside the game. Okay, so we've got this like the notepad on the beach, which is very important part of the game. We have those pages, and they are randomly generated for the for each of the playthroughs. So when you play the game for the first time, the pages are randomly generated, and we did it because during the playtests there was one level that was like outstanding when it was being picked. Like 50% of people were choosing one level as first, and we didn't like it, so we decided to randomize it. But for speedrunners, like in speedrunning menu, the order is locked. So speedrunners would not waste time if they have the fastest combination. They would not waste time on choosing the right page because it's slow. In the next update, we'll add a new feature for speedrunners, in which you will be able to select the page order, but not like in let's say in a direct way, but you will choose a random number, like for example 1024, and the pages will be like ordered with that number. So if you have two speedrunners, they could organize an event and choosing like a number, for example 2048, and they could both will have the same page order, but the trick is that they won't be able to select any page. They will just have one page at a time. So it will be interesting thing, because for example you will see the Steam level as first, and then you will not know what the next level is, so you'll have to use the shortcuts in a very like clever way to have the fastest run. So we will see how it will work with the community. Okay, let's see the notepad. So the notepad was drawn by our friend Graziana. Like, cheers to her if she's watching. And these pages represent the fears of our main character, the memories that she remembered as being as a child. And those memories are transformed into the things in Unreal World that stop us. They just like slow us down. It's not like they kill us or something. We didn't want to make that. And we wanted the whole game to be easy and straightforward, so there is no frustration and there is no stopping on puzzles, because if there would be puzzles, then the puzzles could be very obvious and it translates to boringness and work. And probably we would do that because we are not super puzzle designers. But if we would make too hard puzzles, then people would skip the game and won't play it for the story, and it was the most important thing for us. Okay, so maybe let's start from, I will put it like, let's start from the trees. Okay, was the story based on life of any coworker or of yours? Was there any psychologist involved? So that's a really good question, because like we knew that people will start to answer ask this question all the time, and I can say yes, it's a story based on life experience, but not from the perspective of the child. So it's something that I was like talking about during the interviews, which was very like esoteric or enigmatic, and nobody understood what I was trying to say. That this game is designed for people that turned like 30. And I was telling that not straight. It's that I was trying to say it's designed for people that will have small children. So they would like understand it from the different perspective. If you would play it as a teenager, you could have a perspective of the person that had the same problems in their life, which is very sad. And there are a lot of people that have those experiences based on the statistics of divorces, and they really, really emotionally react to the game. And that's very nice, because we can see that it's working like in a therapeutic way for them. and we are very happy about it. This is like the biggest thing that we've made in this game, is that some of the people will be very happy that they played it and they could like go through those experiences again, but in the end they have a way to like be a little bit like they have this choice that can like influence them in some kind of way. And we've seen like Twitchers playing that and like putting like crying in the end. It was very, very nice, and we are happy about it that we've made this game. And but going back to the question is if it's based on our experiences. Yes. So when when me and my wife got a small kid, I've decided, like I've discovered that the whole life of a person changes so much that it's completely different life, especially when the kid is very young, because like all the time that you had, it's lost, or there are a lot of responsibilities. You need to like reschedule everything that you were used to, and there's a lot of space that like the argues can come in. And that's the basis for this story. So we didn't want to make any of the parents like responsible for what's happening in the game. We just wanted to showcase them in a very simple situation. So the story in the game is very simple. It's like there's actually no story. They're just like events that are not super traumatic. They're like something that happens, but those things that are happening, they can sometimes collapse. And it's very easy, and also because of that, like because it's so easy, our like the monsters' final words in the game, they're exactly like they are. So this is this like our relations with the story. So some from a different perspective, and I hope that if someone will play it as a teenager and then go back to this game like in 10 years when he will have the kids, then his approach, like his like view on the game will change, and he will like understand it from a different perspective. And hopefully he will not do mistakes like our characters in the game. Okay, so that was like a long answer. Let's see if there are any more questions. Do you get tired of your own games because you play it over and over? Yes, and that's one of the problems, because we are tired of them like visually, because we can't figure out what to do next, so not to break anything, and we are tired of the look. But also we got very used to the controls, and there is not we lost that distance. That distance to tell if the game is easy or not, because we are super good at it. And that's the biggest problem that we have if we develop the game for too long. And with our last game, Datura, we had the same problem, because we're super good at using the Move controller, because we're using it for 2 years. And then someone would need to play our game in like 1 hour, because it was shorter than Bound. And we would like require from him to learn all the movements that we learned in 2 years, and they would do it in 1 hour. So that's the biggest problem that we have. Okay, good job on the ribbon particles. They're incredibly fluid. Thank you. Yeah, all the particles we have implemented, these are like our own physics. Oh, I've done this part pretty quickly, and it's like what I said. It's like, for me, it's super easy to go this path, and I'm not a very good player. And I've like played the Mario a lot, and I've like went to the second or third Cosmos levels, but still I'm not a good player. It's just the amount of time I've put into this game, and I learned the controls, so they are not tricky for me. But I understand that for people that just started, they can be tricky, and I see that the people are rushing. They don't like they don't use the camera in a good way. The camera works a lot. It's like a camera taken from Journey, but modified a little bit so it would fit the platformer. But I think that we should make it a little bit more rigid after after seeing how players are playing. But we wanted the camera to like show you the places, like to be fluid and like chill. And I don't know if that was a good idea, but the interesting thing is that in VR, the camera is completely different. It's static, but you can control it. You can place it anywhere you want, and then you can see the situation from one place. Like for example, like in Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil. But you can place the camera anywhere you want, and it's super good because it doesn't cause any nausea. I can play the Bound in like 6-7 hours at work in VR, and I'm super sensitive to motion sickness. I'm super sensitive. So right now, after like working for over 2 years with VR, I got more sensitive than I was before. So it's not like your brain adapts to the motion sickness. I can understand it, like if you're a sailor and you're all the time on the sea, you can adapt to it. But if you're like putting this experience on and off, then your body will react to it as a poison, because actually what's happening in your head when you see the motion and your body doesn't feel it, it's something's wrong, and your brain like remembers it as a poison, that you shouldn't do it. And it gets more and more, you get more and more sensitive. And right now when I see the camera motion in 2D movies, like the trailers and in cinema, and the camera has acceleration, then I can feel the same feeling. It's not like this feeling like makes me vomit instantly, but I got more sensitive to this feeling, and I got more sensitive to the feeling, and I can feel that it exists, but it's not makes me vomit, but it's very uncomfortable. And in Bound, like with our like static camera, I can play all the time, and there's no motion sickness in any part of the game. So I think that if you're interested in VR and like how it's like how it's evolving, then you will be you can check it out. Okay. Kratos DLC would be amazing. Yeah, there were some people in Santa Monica that was suggesting us like to do it for April Fools or something like that. But like taking consideration like the story in our game, I think it wouldn't be so appropriate. Okay, so as for like walking on the walls, here's the one part that you can walk. It's like a hidden path. Speedrunners already discovered it. So normally you go inside this tower, and here I will try to do. It's pretty hard. Okay, and when you normally when you die in our game, let's say that when you fall in our game, then you reset instantly. But if you're using this path for speedrunners, then when you die on the path, then you go back completely. So the risk is much bigger. Okay, so let's go the normal way. Here you can see some art references for Herbin. He was using a lot of triangles and spheres. So triangles and spheres with different colors. Okay. So this is the normal path. Those memory shards, as we call them, are mostly used as the crumbs of bread. So the way to show you where's the path. But we also wanted to, because our game is like pretty sad, we wanted to have those good memories represented in somewhere, and these memory shards are representing like the moments that you want to like collect and keep to yourself. But in the end, when you reach the end of the level, they are like being discovered, so like covered with the bad memories. So the bad memories like stick to you more than those good ones, and this was like the idea behind it. So this part is the Azure inspired part. We wanted to make it like completely different, but in the end it was like super hard. And the thing is that the Azure pictures work like this, is that you have like this perspective of the like isometric perspective. This is not like a real perspective, it's just like isometry, so it's just like parallel lines. For example, like Monument Valley is using that, so we couldn't do it in our game, and it's like let's say it's like Azure style part, but it doesn't look like Azure. And in Azure the biggest problem is the stairs, because they are super huge. So each step in Azure Pictures is like super huge step, which is like if you would walk on that, your feet would hurt a lot. So we also had to change it. Okay. And this is like a next reference. When you can see in the front is this picture. It's the white square on the black background. It's another picture, like the painting of Kazimierz Malevich. And this is the picture that ends suprematism. So the picture that begins, that started suprematism, was the black square on the white background, and the other, the one that ended it was the white square on the black background. And the funny thing is that both of those pictures are held in the museums, but one is held in Russia and the other one is held in US. So it's like a interesting, like additional interesting thing about that. The main character has had a daughter, so the main character is expecting a baby, and she's on the beach, and before like when she will have the baby, she wanted to like solve some her past problems, and the thing about that is I lost my... okay. So what I wanted to say is that in the first, like, this project had different code names before it ended as Bound. First code name was Equality, but was really bad name, because back then the game was like something completely different. Like, there was no platforming. You were like flying on a kite inside of those blocky mount, like cityscape and so on. It was like completely different game. And then we decided to name it as Your Kingdom Come, and it meant that the kingdom is a family, and Your Kingdom Come, it means now I will like taste your kingdom, how it tastes when I will have a baby. So I will be in a different position, not as a child but as a parent, and hopefully it will not be the same kingdom. So that was the idea behind it, and that's why we decided to have her, like the main character is pregnant on the beach. Okay. I really like how speedrunners are taking care of this path over here, but I will not make it because it's too hard for me. Okay. So most of the platforming pieces in our game are designed in such a way that there's easy and hard path. This one is hard path, and people die a lot here, but there's always an easy path, so you can skip it, and it's just because to remove the frustration, so you could keep with the story. But if you know the roll jump, then this part is super easy. Okay. So now I will show you another, like the secret part of our game. It's something that we call the islands. In the beginning we wanted to have the islands like more like to have more content, just some extra findings like the extra memory shards or something, but we decided to cut it down because it was too hard conceptually to do it. But in this place I will show you like how the paths work in our game. So let's take this piece, and here is another hidden place. So basically we had this the island path, and then we are here, and when we jump on this aerial silk and we try to go down, then those paper planes are attacking us and they're throwing us from the aerial silk. And this is something I think is quite badly designed for me. I just discovered it recently, that those animations when you are on the rope and you're attacked by a fear on a rope or on a ladder on the ledge, they should look differently than this. They should like dissolve the princess completely, so you will see the difference than regular falling, and that you are like disintegrated by those fears. And the thing is that when you overcome the fear of those paper planes here, then this path will open, and this is like the faster path through the level. I don't know if it's like super fast because there's a lot of paths, and we decided like that the players will discover it by themselves. So if they will run the game multiple times in different orders, they will finally find like the combination which is the fastest. But right now I can see that they are still working on it. Okay. Will VR for this game be available from day one for PSVR? Yes, it will be a free update. So if you have the game right now, then it will just update, and it will be like one of your first PSVR games. The interesting thing about VR in our game is that it normally takes twice time to pass the game than on TV. So it's like 5 hours game in VR, because like people just play and stop and look around. And this happens all the time. So even if we play as developers, like to completely test the game, it takes us the whole day to do it in VR. And also speedrunning is a little bit tricky there, but you can do it. Okay. Does the notebook contain concept art graphics? No, it doesn't. The current notebook design was made in the very last months of the development, and so at first we had the notebook with my drawings, which were really bad. So maybe they were not bad, but we discovered that they look like it was drawn by a guy and not a girl, which was like pretty obvious that it shouldn't be like that. I have like this heavy hand for sketching. So we asked our friend Graziana to do it, and we are really happy about the notepad in the end. I just noticed that the dress appearance changes based on the light and angle. Yes, it changes, and it changes on the order of the level. So if you will play this level, like the 3 level, as the last one, so princess would have a different dress in this level, and also like everything would look differently. So the lighting would be different, the colors would be different, the destruction regions would be different. So it's because we wanted the game to be played multiple times, and all the time it would look slightly different. Okay, so next Oh, maybe first I will go through this memory. So I will explain like what's happening in the game based on this memory. There was like couple of speedrun like the Twitch players that very nicely analyzed the whole game, what's happening, and I'm happy that it works so well. Because we were like doing this a lot of times. The biggest problem with the memories was balancing them so they would be not too heavy, like the father wouldn't be too bad or the mother wouldn't look like a witch. So the mother design for a long time was really bad. She looked like a really bad woman, and after playtest, our playtester said that it probably was the mother. It's like she was the bad one. But what we wanted to achieve is that people wouldn't agree who is the bad guy. It's like the father is the bad one. It's like, looks what he's doing here. And what we can see in this memory that like the plant is broken. Okay, it's like it happens, like these are kids, but there are some times like you're having like enough. It's like you have problems in work or whatever, and this tiny thing like this broken flower can like ignite some moments in your life that you will remember. But the thing about this memory is that she is pointing her finger to her brother, so it was actually not her fault, but her brother's. And this is something that happens in those cutscenes in Unreal World. So if we remember the first cutscene, the brother was touching the tree and those trees appeared in the whole level. And then when they've met for the second time, she was saying that so if he will help her or not, in terms of if he will help her clean the stuff that he broke. And he's actually said that he has his own things to do, so he was drawing this picture of the flower. So all the cutscenes in the game represent in the Unreal World represents exactly what's happening in those memories. And this is the whole idea about it. So basically the story in the game is very, very simple. It's just those elements, but we are happy about like not what's the story, but how it is presented, because it's not like a traditional way of telling the story, and this is something that only games can do. Okay, so maybe I'll concentrate on this part when there's like the overcome of the fear, when you dance through it. So with motion capture, a different dance sequences for each of the levels. So if you will play it in a different order, then you have like a different like this sequence. It's not like a different style of the dance, like for example a waltz or something, but they're just like different sequences, so they fit the theme, like the color scheme. Like in when there's raining, there are some parts when during the dance she slips a little bit. It's like intended. And this is my favorite part of the game, so the ribbon. We're trying to do something with the ribbon so there would be more interaction in there. And what we wanted to show in that part is that when the fears are overcome, then those trees changed colors, and you can, when you go through them, they disappear. So all the paths that were blocked by the trees are gone. And we wanted to, this was like the chill part after like this memory, then you can like calm down. But there was a lot of people on the playtest that were actually doing nothing. They were just like staring at it without any interaction. But so for example, you can like slide faster, or you can dance a little bit on the, like, let's call it a dance on the ribbon. But we had some different iterations here. For example, like the ribbon was splitting in two ribbons, so there was different paths on the ribbon, so you could select the faster path. But it was tricky and was like ruining the chill moment of that. Also, like adding like extra memory shards so you could pick it up on the ribbon was not working so well. Okay, so next question is, will VR for this game be okay? This I just noticed. Was it difficult to find a composer who could nail the emotional aspect of Bound? And at what point were you really satisfied with the result? So we were really satisfied with the result when we found Oleg from the start, because he's a really good composer. He's like a composer for that game, but we were like searching for him a little bit. We've made this contest for all the musicians that we composers that we worked with in our past productions during the demo scene times, and we wanted to have two things, like this classic ballet. And this is the place where a lot of people like make screens, the screenshots. So we wanted to have the ballet part, and we also wanted to have electronic parts, but not electronics that are like very calm. We wanted to have this raw electronics, and there are a couple of people on the demo scene that can do it. A lot of composers that do classical stuff have problems with electronics because they do it in a very, let's say, gentle way. Then they don't like use the raw like connecting cables. Let's say like that stuff. And Oleg is doing a lot of electroacoustic music. It's like from the nice electroacoustic music to the very like a noisy music that a lot of people would not like accept it from the very beginning, like with modern art, but it's there. Should I like appreciate that? And he was perfect match for this game. And the funny thing is that every piece of music that Oleg did was like accepted like from the instant. It was not like, okay, let's reiterate that couple of times. It was like the first proposal and already acceptance. We were like doing just a slight modifications for the ribbons music in the end, the drum section, but except for that, like Oleg was waiting for the content for all the time, and when we delivered him like the level, then he was like finishing the music in 1 week, like a streamlined process. So it was like a very, very good cooperation, and I'm really happy about that. And also, so we found Oleg with one of the videos on YouTube when I was doing a research on the ballet, and he composed a track for the contemporary ballet movie on YouTube that has like millions of views, and I decided like to contact him on sound. I forget the name of the service with the tracks. Okay, so the next part of our game is this like the esoteric scene of the corridor. We call it corridor, and this is like the biggest traumatic thing happened in the life of our protagonist. So it's revealed a part after part, and it works really nicely. I was not expecting that it will work so nicely, because people actually didn't suspect that it was that was happening. They were like suspecting a lot of like a biggest traumatic thing, like someone dies or abuse, and it's something bigger. And also the nice thing is that they didn't expect what's happening in that house. So the idea of showing this corridor like piece after piece was taken directly from the movie called The Walls of Bashir. I hopefully not broken the English. It's like an Israeli movie, like animated movie, which is really great, and it exactly shows the thing that you have this memory that comes back to you, and it reveals more and more and more to finally show you what's happening in there. And in this movie it's done perfectly, and I was not expecting that in our game will also work so nicely. I was thinking that people will get it. It's like, of course it's super obvious that in the house it's this, and in this corridor it's this. So I'm happy that it's not so obvious. Okay. Does this art style have a name? And this on the beach, I think it's like a little bit of Studio Ghibli and Matt Nava from right now the Giant Squid. It's this kind of art style. So this is something that fit perfectly for this part, and in VR it looks nicely. I think that Abzu in VR would be like a super gorgeous game, like visually stunning. I would love to play it in VR, but there's a lot of additional work that you would need to put into the game to make it VR ready. Will you bring VR to Warsaw Games Week? Yes, we will be there. We'll have some kiosks with VR version of Bound, so if you will be around, then you're welcome to come in. Who called whom? How did the collaboration between Plastic and Santa Monica Studio start? That's one of the questions that we got asked, like from time to time. Every time we make another project, the question appears. So maybe I will choose okay, let's do the paper planes. So it started when I was finishing my studies. I was studying mathematics, and I was contacted by Crytek, and because we were like doing a lot of scene, and Crytek was like investigating the demo scene parties. And also I got like a phone call from US. I was like a poor student back then. I got a phone call for like an international call. It's like if to answer or not. Maybe I would have to pay for that. And this was like Rusty Buckert and George Weising from Sony Santa Monica. They're not there right now. George is, but Rusty is not. And they called us with their idea to make a demo scene community on PlayStation 3, which was like a good idea, but technically it was really impossible idea because PS3 was so hardware. It's like it was really insanely. Let's not say it bad. Let's say it was hard to program. So we had a lot of problems with working on PS3. Like PS4 is super nice. It's great hardware for programmers. Like you have all the access for all the resources. You can do marvelous speed ups here. Currently, this game on PC works really bad. It's like super slow because of the CPU mostly, but still, for example, like copying memory between the GPU and CPU is super fast if you do it like if you do it the right way on a PS4. Then this is this ribbon that sometimes it's too high, but we already fixed that. So here you need to jump on the wall. But there was like a wall jumping tutorial in the beginning of the game, so people were not reporting that as a bug. So as for the music, whenever the monster appears, there's this organ parts that are coming, and they are inspired. Like when I contacted Oleg, I was like sending him my inspirations for the game, and I was mostly inspired by Only God Forgives soundtrack, and there was the Interstellar soundtrack. It's like the Interstellar was fresh back then. This part is super hard for some of the players, so we fixed that, because the jumping here needs to be very precise. So it's already like fixed. There's another, here is another example of precise jumping, because if you will roll jump from here, oh, that was looked bad. You will overshoot, so you need to like roll jump from somewhere here, and yeah, I know that it can be hard for unexperienced players, like when they are trying to just experience the story. But of course there's an easy path over there, like in the bottom you can see there's like some simple platforming jumping, but then people were saying that it's like super simple platformer. Yeah, it's like really hard to do, like thing that like everyone enjoys. Okay, so this is the very interesting part, like this floating stairs. So speedrunners currently made a shortcut from those flying pieces. We didn't know that it's actually possible. But if you would push this button on the floor, then they will like form stairs. And what they are doing is they are making a shortcut over there. It's not so well hidden, but still I will leave it open for the watchers. Okay. Maybe I will not try to do it in this way. Okay. Oh, I've chosen the bad door. I was not playing this part for a longer time. Okay, there was like a camera cut here. So maybe I will talk a little bit about the camera cuts, because they're very, very important for us. Like for us, and some players have problems with that. For example, like when I was jumping here, the camera changed in that way that you could fall. But what we are doing here actually is that we are changing the lighting of the level. So these are very, very important camera cuts for us, because if we would light this level from just one sun direction, then half of the level or even more would be in the shadows, and you wouldn't know where to go, and also it would look really bad. But when we do those camera cuts, then we change the lighting, so then the parts of the level that are in front of you will be properly lit. Okay. All right. Next question. One thing I really love about this: no minimap, no health bars or MP points type stuff on screen the whole game. Yeah, it's something that we wanted to avoid, any kind of UI, because it's like breaks the immersion and experience. In VR also there is no user interface, so everything is super simplified. So it's done by design. All those pieces are done by design. It's not like we didn't want to make a game out of the game or something like that. Hopefully it was a byproduct of also being VR capable. Yeah, it's like that. So in VR, making a user interface, it's really problematic, and we still have the like all those tiny UI elements. For example, like a speedrunning hut, which is problematic in VR. And for that, what we are doing is that in the patch there will be a new option for speedrunners, that you will be able to turn on and off the speedrunning hut by pushing the L3 button. I think it was L3, but there will be a description for that. And in VR is super important because the depth of the whole scene changes all the time, and your HUD can sometimes go inside the geometry. So in this type of game, it's really problematic. Next thing is the photo mode. So photo mode in VR, it works. So at first we didn't have the photo mode in VR, but it was really bad, since photo mode is one of the most important things in our game. We didn't expect that, really. Let me change the autofocus to princess. Okay, so how photo mode will work in VR. So when you will look around and see like a nice place, which will happen a lot of times, then you will push the photo mode button and you will switch to 2D mode for the moment of taking a photo. So you will see like a cinema size screen in front of you with all the options like here. Then you will have all the options from the photo mode. Then you will be able to share this with the share button and go back to VR. And that was something that was the best thing that we could do, because capturing the world in VR would be very hard. And it's because of a couple of things. First of all, you would need to capture the the complete sphere. Next, you would need to capture it in 3D. So this would have to be like two spheres, like the stereoscopic two spheres. Next thing is that normally in photo mode we have 30 frames per second. So in when you play the game there is like 60, but when you switch to photo mode it's 30, because all the effects that are like on the screen. And VR, when we would switch to 30 frames per second, then it would be very bad because of the motion sickness. Okay. Next question. Are the simplistic yet complex shapes of a reflection of the game? Did you plan it this way from the start? This is an interesting question, but as far as I remember, because we were doing this game for a very long time, it's like longer than we should. During the first year, we were like reiterating like crazy. And I have some movies. I've recorded all the process of making this game. I will like share it in time. And so I was working on the character, and I said like to my teammate that I will need some kind of physical representation of the boxes that I'm working on. So he was like, he drew me those like we call design boxes. And then I said it's very hard to understand the space without the shadows. And then we've added shadows on those design boxes, and we've added ambient occlusion on those design boxes. And I said, it's like, wow, those design boxes started to look nicely. Maybe we should keep to them. And in the end, we've added this distraction effect on the design boxes, so they would correlate with the idea of the world shrinking with time. Okay, I will show you the passage here, because like I know that there's a lot of people that already discovered it, but we were asking ourselves like in the studio why. So this is like something that speedrunners could work on a little bit, because I personally think that this is like a nice shortcut over here. But this shortcut works only if you remove the pearls first. So if you could play the pearls lever first, then you could cut a lot of chunk here from this level. So I will go in a traditional way. And you will see like how big chunk it is. Okay, I need to take care of the steam. And this is another example of my like design philosophy of always easy path. So basically you have this door over here, and when you go to this door and the door will shut in front of you, there's always this frustration moment like, oh no, I will have to do it again and again. And this is something when me being like an like older person already, and I don't have too much time for playing games, like investing like 5 hours into a game, it's too much. So that's why I only play those tiny games. Like for example, Inside, that was recently released. It's 3 hours only. It's perfect time for me. So I could like, if I will not play it at straight evening, then I will divide it into 2 pieces. Then this like frustration moment when like the door shuts in front of you, it's like I would skip the game at some point. It's like, oh no, not again. And that's why we have those short paths here, so you will not feel that you are frustrated, but you are also not, that's not a huge penalty for you to take this old man path. But I guess like some people were like frustrated that it's so easy. Well, it's not. If you are building a challenge for yourself like speedrunners do, then this game is really like requires a lot of, there's a lot of challenges over here. Like, oh, okay. So this place, for example, it's if you will wait a little bit, then those paper planes will show you the way. But if you're like running, then you need to jump in the like in the void. So you need to remember when these pieces are. So basically it's easy and hard at the same time. If you go it in a fast way, then it's super hard. But if you will like go slow, then all those puzzles, like call them puzzles, are super easy, and they are not puzzles at all. So the design philosophy over here is always about the time. And yeah, so everything is about the time if you're playing Bound as a game. If you are playing it as not a game, then it's like a story-driven experience. Then you can play, for example, with those pearls because they look really nice on the character when she's like struggles with them. And this is like how you can experience it. You don't need to go fast through it. Okay, I got those. Oh, this is a nice piece of chunk. So this is like element that was already discovered by our players, and each level contains those columns, and those signs are written in Braille, and these are the letters of Bound. And what they represent is like the question is like what's the order? If they show any order of the game, they show the order, but it's super simple. We didn't want it to show the order like what we think which is the fastest path. So this is basically the order of how the levels were created. Like one after another. So the first was Shout, and the last was Pearls. And when you think about those levels, you can see the simplicity of the Shout level and the complexity of the Pearls level. So this is how they were created in time. And the last actually level that we've made was the tutorial level, because of this design philosophy that when you learn your tools, you will make the best levels in the end, and you wanted to have the best level as the first one, so the tutorial was made as the last one. Okay. I don't know how much time do we have. We've passed 2 levels. Okay, maybe like 10 minutes, and I will leave you with the game. But I will answer some questions first. Is photo mode an invention of PS4, Sony itself, or of each game developer? No, the photo mode is something, I don't know where it appears for the first time. In our case, like I said before, it was done just to have this ability to make screenshots for the promotion of the game easier. But I think that a lot of games can take advantage of the photo mode because it's like resonates inside the community. We like make the galleries of players, we feature them, and they like it, so it works. Photo mode also works in the memory scenes. For example, like this. Yeah, so we can play. Okay, let's discover. So, like I said before, with the trees level, what's happening here, it's exactly what happens in Unreal World and vice versa. So what's happening in Unreal World happens in this memory. So kids were playing in the parents' bedroom. They were like tossing all those, like, let's say, important documents on the floor and like making paper planes out of it, and we're like having fun, like playing their game. And the mother discovers that and gets really angry because those are like documents. It's like a normal scene of life, but it's balanced in a way to showcase a little bit like mother from this perspective of like a strict woman that doesn't like has their limits of her patience. Okay, so I think, yeah, it's okay. Why are those pieces that dancer collects making sound? It sounds like louder. Yeah, it's the sound of this like collectibles are actually like sounds of the of vowels, like ba, 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 and we were like trying to experiment with something like which is like completely different than we heard in Mario or anything like that. And we were happy with that sound, and we left them. It's like we were it was designed on our side by programmer, and we asked like the sound designer like to leave it like that because we really like that. Okay, so let's go on the final ribbon. It's the paper planes ribbon. It's like 1.5 hour already, and I didn't know it will go so fast. Like for me, it was super fast. Ribbon in VR is really nice. I'm really happy of how we implemented it in the end. So the camera is static, and you can change it in a way that you can, for example, the princess can slide towards you, or she can slide in front of you. She can slide from the left, from left to right, from right to left. Basically, you can like turn on the chair around and see her. But I like the moment when she's like goes in front of you and like slides like near you, and you can hear this. And in 2D version, it's like I can't hear that. I just heard that element in VR, and it's super nice. There's a lot of things to discover. For example, like the rain of triangles is something that doesn't happen in real life. So it's super interesting in VR, and our game has like a lot of this super artificial things that feel and look in VR like a different world. Okay, so this is the last moment when we can see that this memory like unfolds more and more, like those scenes happening in the corridor get more dense, and probably this is the place where we will finish the stream. If you like it and you would like to know more about the game and the coming updates, we'll have like for sure we'll have 2 updates coming, and like know more about the PSVR version, because we'll be talking more about the camera, which is like it's the camera system that we implemented is it's super nice, and it's nausea free completely, but it's very unintuitive, because if you were playing video games for whole your life, like first person perspective shooters for example, then at first this camera is something completely different that you're unexpecting. But the reason that we did it is just to remove the motion sickness at all, and to remove all the accelerations from the camera. So it's something for something. We have nausea-free game, but the camera, it's like from the outside it looks really weird, but if you're in the game then you can like blink it very very fast. You can maybe not so fast like in Doom or Quake, but you can go really fast in first person perspective without any motion sickness. Okay, so I hopefully I answered all your questions, and you can follow us on Twitter if you want more information, and like have a good night or a good day in front of you. It's like wherever you are. So thank you and bye bye.